We fucking did it. And I can say that at the start of this video without fear of consequence because YouTube has now dropped its policy on swearing at the start of a video. And this is like a huge weight has been lifted for me because this is a policy that's been very personal for me and I've been very involved with since its introduction. As some people may not even remember at this point just how impactful this policy has been on my channel specifically. So let me just recap and tell you why this is a bit of a big deal. At the end of 2022, I made a best of RTGame for 2022 video, which was a big montage and supercut video of all my videos from the year as a sign-off. Now this video got age restricted, flagged, and severely limited in its reach. But what actually happened is after that video went up, it had a huge knock-on effect for a lot of my channel because YouTube basically went back and flagged a lot of the videos on my channel and limited their reach and demonetized a lot of them because it had introduced a new policy at the time regarding swearing, where you weren't allowed to swear at the start of your videos specifically. And me being Irish and it being a cultural thing where we kind of swear quite casually, this had a lot of knock-on effects where suddenly a large amount of my videos were flagged by a policy that didn't exist at the time I made those videos. And I then got onto YouTube interrogating them about this policy, to which I found out that even if I fixed my videos, they would still be flagged forever, and that there was nothing I could really do to change this, which felt so unfair because you've introduced a new policy and you're retroactively applying it to all the existing content without the chance to even change it. Because that's the thing. I didn't really mind the policy itself if I could change my videos, but YouTube said no to that. It specifically said no, that even if I made my videos adhere, nothing would be fixed, which felt so unfair. And so some of you might remember at the start of 2023, in protest, I adopted using the word YouTube as a censor or a swear word, basically, on my channel. And it was strictly in protest of the absurdity of this policy when it was introduced. And a lot of my videos, especially from the last 2 years, you can hear the YouTube censors in them. And I think the association is quite funny for a lot of my audience. I think even now, hearing me say the word YouTube so much, a lot of people are just going to think I'm violently swearing because it has been the censor word all this time. Now, we pushed back so hard against this policy that it was dialed back in March of 2023, and YouTube very kindly admitted that the scale and severity of this policy was a lot more than they ever anticipated. And this was actually due to the implementation of this policy on my channel specifically. I had a lot of back and forth meetings with YouTube staff themselves discussing this policy and how I thought it needed to be changed. Much love to Connor, who is the head of YouTube monetization policy at YouTube. We have had many chats through the years since this policy was introduced. He's an Irish lad as well, so, you know, we've always had some crack there. And it was always nice when the policy was dialed back, but there was more existential problems surrounding this policy that I was always very much against. The big thing for me is if YouTube decides that, hey, tomorrow beans are illegal, and if you mention beans in your video, well, you know, fuck you, buddy. Don't you remember the Great Bean War of 2025? Maybe not the best example, but you get the idea. If a new policy introduces retroactively applied without the chance to actually change and adhere to that policy, it can pose a real existential problem because you're not even giving people a chance. And speaking as someone whose livelihood and job is YouTube and is Twitch, it's a real threat to what I do for a living, and also a threat to what a lot of creators on this platform do. And now the policy is just dropped, and it really feels like a weight has been lifted, because for me specifically, this has been a very personal thing. There is a lot of surrounding discussion around it still, and the existential problem of, hey, you got to give people a chance to adhere to new policy. But I actually have like quite good news even on that front. So I only found out about this news and change with the swearing policy late last night. I was talking to my partner manager literally this morning about it, and he was like, he even said, yeah, I was thinking of you when we announced this and rolled it out. He actually gave me the chance to review my videos now that the policy had been changed. And I'm happy to report that a lot of my videos are actually finally fine after all this time. And it feels very surreal because this has caused a lot of personal stress and anxiety for me for a number of years. It is something that made me really doubt even my future on this platform when it was introduced. And to just have it so suddenly be changed like that, and it's like, no, we're done with that, it just feels like a weight has been lifted. And there's still a myriad of other problems on YouTube, because of course there is, it's a large platform and there's a lot of stuff we're dealing with. As some people have been very cynical towards, I think, this policy specifically, because, hey, what about all these other fires over here? And it's like, those fires are equally valid as well. Like, don't worry. Like, I hope in the years to come YouTube gets to those issues too. But just on this issue, I'm really happy right now, because this has been a very personal one for me, and it's been something that I have had to struggle with for years, and basically since its introduction. And there's been so many meetings, there's been so much like kind of doubt over if I can even continue doing YouTube, and now it's just gone. It's just a huge weight that's been lifted. So I want to say just a massive thanks, first and foremost, to my audience supporting me through it. I know, like, some of you weren't the biggest fan of me even using YouTube as a censor all these years. Again, it was done in protest. It's why I put it on my videos. It was the protest of this policy. But thank you for supporting me through it, nonetheless, and understanding why I've had to do that for years. A specific thanks to YouTube as well for actually deciding that this policy and its implications was a very bad idea and should not have been introduced. Now it's just gone, which is just really nice. It's really nice. There's still larger existential problems with retroactive application of these new policies, but even in this example, I was very kindly allowed to just, again, review my content, and it was fine. So hey, that even gives me hope for the application of future policies. We don't know what they are. Shout out to the Great Bean War. We don't know how that's going to go down yet. Your bean content is going to be safe. I'm sorry, I know it's not the best example, but you get what I mean. I'm just very happy to see this change. And after all this time, it's just nice to say, hey, we actually fucking did something. We won on this one. So thank you, gang, for the support. It's very surreal.